Now, speaking of Klay's alma mater, though, let's talk about the Golden State Warriors. Buddy Hield had a great debut for them, much like Klay did for Dallas. And he's a great fit for that team in terms of just a three-point shooting offense because Buddy Hield is a lethal shooter from beyond the arc, one of the best in the entire league. If he puts one up from out there, there's a very, very good chance it's going down. And then obviously you pair that with the greatest shooter of all time, Steph Curry. That's a recipe for success. That's what they did with Splash Bros too, with Klay and Steph. So for the Golden State Warriors, you've got a little mini Klay and Buddy Hield. Obviously, he's not the same player, but in terms of what he can bring to this offense, he's quite similar. Buddy's an elite shooter in his own right. And Steve Kerr himself said that this is as deep as a team that he has ever coached. Of course, you got the returning backs like Steph, Draymond, Kevon Looney even. Then you've got guys like Wiggs, Kyle Anderson, Jonathan Kuminga, who really broke out last year. Brendan Podziemski, who had a great rookie campaign last year. This team really is pretty balanced. And as a result, it's oftentimes the balanced teams that are able to really find success in the league because they're not too reliant on one guy. Because in basketball, relying on one guy, one player's performance can be really, really volatile at times. You see consistency, even if they're getting good shots, because sometimes they're just not falling. A guy like D'Lo comes to mind where he has his moments where he's amazing, but at times he can also be really inconsistent and have a game where he scores 9 points, right? And talent-wise, D'Lo is I think he's one of the better offensive talents in the league. However, he just struggles with inconsistency. And obviously the Lakers aren't relying on him. But in general, that archetype, that really is a good example of how players can be inconsistent. And as a result, you can't really rely on one guy each and every night if you're going to win an NBA championship. And obviously, Steph is, without a shadow of a doubt, the number one guy for the Golden State Warriors team. But they really are deep. And if Steph's not having a good night, Buddy Hield's lights out from three. Pod's had a great rookie campaign. I expect him to build on that. He does all the little things you need him to. Draymond, same thing. Jonathan Kuminga broke out last year. This team is deep, and if Steph is having a bad night, we've got guys that can go out and perform. So for the Warriors, they obviously had an offseason last year, and really ever since that 2022 championship, it's been downhill. But I wouldn't be shocked if they make the playoffs this year. I think they can be a solid team in the West. Kind of a sleeper team, really, because just as a result of the last couple of seasons they've had. But this Warriors team, they've got the pieces to really make a deep run because, the guys don't have to be fatigued because they can sub in new guys with just all the talent on this roster. And I think it's just great how balanced they are for a team that, especially but the year before that 2022 championship, I believe was ultra reliant on Curry because, Klay was out. And then the year before that, Klay and Steph were out and they were helpless. So this team finally constructing a balanced roster, I think that's huge, and the Warriors can absolutely be a sleeper team in the West.